Hey y'all, Irix Guy here, and I'm going to call this the Mavic Air 2 second flight. Now admittedly, I've flown some other flights, but this is my follow-up video to my Mavic Air 2 first flight. So I've got a better understanding of the drone and the settings. I love 4K 30 HDR. Even though the Mavic Air 2 will do 4K 60, 4K 60, that 4K 30 HDR looks slick. And at least with the current firmware, if you're filming in 60 frames per second in 4K HDR, high dynamic range is not an option. So we're going to go into the camera here, and we're going to go to video mode, and you can see I've got 4K 30 HDR. So that's the video mode. I've already formatted my micro SD card. Again, if you're looking for the micro SD card of the drone, any of the accessories, expand this video's description and then click the link there. But without further ado, let's click record. I am in normal mode. I'm going to do sport mode on a different test. So we're just going to go in normal mode with this. We're recording in 4K 30 HDR. Again, notice how cleanly the motor started up that time. My first flight, if you watch my Mavic Air 2 first flight video, you probably noticed that the rear end of it kind of stuttered around. And several other people had commented about experiencing the same thing with their Mavic Air 2 the first time. So for whatever reason, that's gone away. Again, the smoothness of hover of this aircraft is exceptional. Look at this. I'm going to bring it close here. I mean, just look at how smoothly that hovers. And just to show you, I don't have my hands on my stick, see? So that's just a hover right there. Let's go get airborne here to safe and responsible altitude. Just kind of see what type of performance we can achieve. Something else worth mentioning with my first Mavic Air 2 field test video, I had some microphone issues, nothing to do with the drone. Well, I guess technically it would have something to do with the drone. My wireless mic that I was using was interfering, or the drone was the controller was interfering with the wireless mic. So today I'm using my wired mic on top of my camera. We're going to go out here over some water. Get to see how good that looks. Look at the cloud detail. Look at all the value that that HDR, high dynamic range, adds. Something viewers had asked me about was the sunshade for the controller. I can tell you with the phone that I'm using right now, the iPhone XR, which is just a pretty basic iPhone, but even in strong sunlight like I have now, I mean, there's an occasional cloud coming by that's obstructing the sun, but for the most part it's pretty strong sunlight. I'm able to see this perfectly well. I'm able, obviously, line of sight to the drone, but I'm also able to see the the detail in the screen. Now I did flick my sunglasses up. These are polarized sunglasses, so when I have those on, it makes seeing the screen a little bit more challenging. So now there's some water detail down there. I'm going to put these back on here. We're going to go up, obviously, to a safe and responsible altitude. Can't preach drone safety enough, man. I tell you, when you're the drone evangelist, you always gotta preach drone safety, because if we all don't become fellow drone evangelists, then this hobby may cease to exist. Okay, look at that. Look at the detail where the water meets the trees. Super duper nice. That's where you get your HDR, your high dynamic range. That's why I like the 4K 30 HDR versus the 4K 60 without HDR. Now, obviously, there's certain filming scenarios where I might use 4K 60, like say I want to slow down a video, I want to speed up a video, retime the video. When you're retiming videos, having that extra frame rate, the 60 instead of the 30, provides additional value. But with the high dynamic range, for the maximum pop, especially when people are watching on 4K HDR TVs or 4K HDR monitors, for the maximum visual effect, this HDR, and if you don't really know what it is, just look at the clouds, look at the shadows, look at just how bold, I guess, I don't know if bold's a good word, but being a video editor, I guess you say guru or whatever, I don't know what you want to call me, But just being an Irish guy and fiddling around with a lot of videos, when I look at this video, even in this FPV mode, first person view mode right now, I can see the details in the shadows, just how good the color looks. I mean, this camera, the Mavic Air 2's camera, is phenomenal. You know, again, I'm here to always provide honest and hopefully valuable field test of drones. You know, I'm not here to talk people up and say, oh, you should buy that just because it's new. That's not my objective. You know, I'm here to tell you what I see and showcase in real time with you what my experiences with the drones are. And I will say that this drone, the Mavic Air 2, is, you know, after owning this for a week, Mavic Air 2 is my favorite drone. A few things that I do want to mention, again, keeping things honest, and you know, honesty is important when it comes to this stuff. I mean, you see all those fluff, oh man, every little hair in the video is illuminated to perfection. I mean, you know, those types of videos, and oh, they've got the drone before it's even released, and all of this. This is not that. I'm just a dude in a field with a drone, and I walk around barefoot, man. You know, that makes it more exciting. So, you know, I get, you know, people call me a hillbilly, and they call me a, you know, hillbilly. I'm not a hillbilly, dude. I'm a redneck. I'm a redneck, yeah, that likes drones. So, you know, it is what it is. But this drone, this Mavic Air 2, and we're going to go over the grass really low so you can see the detail. This thing, just because of the battery life, the controller is radically different. The controller is one of the biggest upgrades that DJI's had in years. I mean, it's super. And I like the smart controller for the Mavic 2 Pro. But this controller, man, just putting my phone on top, not having to fumble with the additional cost of a smart controller, it's just super nice. It just works. And if I upgrade my phone, well, hopefully that new phone, oops, I hit stop record. Let me hit start record again. That is one of my minor gripes, is that you get comfortable with this controller and your fingers tend to get lazy, and you might hit the stop record, and that's what I just did. So it's not a problem. It's just something to be aware of. I would like to see, and I understand why they put that there, because if you're snapping photos, if you're doing stills, you know, having access to the shutter button right there is super nice. But that's just that's a point of failure that I've encountered with this. Maybe I'm just dumb, you know, maybe I don't know how to properly hold my hands when I'm flying a drone. I mean, who knows? You know, tell me what you think within the comment section below. But this thing is great, man. And I will tell you, the low light performance, even though this does not have a 1-inch sensor on the camera, and for all of you people out there that aren't necessarily camera nerds, a 1-inch sensor basically means that camera in low light situations can capture greater detail. If you've ever taken, let's just say a low quality, let's say a low quality webcam out at night, you've probably noticed that thing does a horrible job in low light. Maybe you've taken a cheap, you know, handheld camera out, and you've probably noticed that cheap handheld camera, when it starts to get dark, you don't see the details. And if you do, when it's really dark and you see the black areas have grain and like spots and stuff. Take a 1-inch sensor camera out, or a full frame camera out, and shoot that same situation, and you're probably going to find that it's a lot more detail rich. You don't notice the imperfections with the video. So Mavic 2 Pro still wins when it comes to low light performance. But again, are most of your videos filmed during, we're gonna sit this down for a second while we continue this chat here. Because I'm gonna do a sport mode test. I've got one battery at the time of filming this. So yeah, is the low light performance that the Mavic 2 Pro's camera, is that worth the extra spend? Keep in mind also with the Mavic Air 2, you get better battery life, and the autofocus system works great. I don't know if you watched my initial Mavic 2 Pro videos, but to get autofocus to work for Mavic 2 Pro with the initial firmware versions was challenging. It just wasn't reliable. Now the most recent firmware, they fixed it. Autofocus works great. But I found that with Mavic 2 Pro, to get optimal results, I often had to resort to manual focus, which isn't a problem, but it's just something worth mentioning. This thing, I don't have to fumble with focus at all, man. I just take it off and boom, man. Things are well focused. You know, low light, bright light. And so honestly, for daytime filming scenarios, having Mavic 2 Pro and Mavic Air 2 for daytime filming situations, I'm going to opt for Mavic Air 2. And the reason being is that I don't have to fumble with autofocus. It just works. And I get better battery life. And I mean, it's an awesome drone. It's a little bit smaller, it's a little bit lighter. Not that the Mavic 2 Pro or the Mavic 2 Zoom are too big or too heavy, but it's smaller and it's lighter and it gets better battery life. So it's a total win. Now, when would I use Mavic 2 Pro instead of Mavic Air 2? Okay, I'm doing a professional shoot, low light, right before sunset. You know, I want to make that stuff look professional as possible. In that scenario, I'd probably use the Mavic 2 Pro. But keep in mind, most of your viewers, if you look at analytics, most of your viewers are probably using mobile devices, so they're not using the big screen. So the quality difference on, say, a smartphone or a tablet while watching a Mavic Air 2 video in low light versus a Mavic 2 Pro video that was filmed in low light, the differences on a smaller screen will be negligible. So keep that in mind. Now you pop it up on the big screen, yes, you'll probably see in the black areas or really dark areas, you'll probably see more visible imperfections with the Mavic Air 2 in low light situations. But dude, this thing is awesome. And, you know, I owed y'all Mavic Air 2 flight number 2. And again, to be honest, this is not my second flight. I've flown it for over a week now, but I wanted to post this second flight video just as a follow-up to my first flight, and I've got that linked with the YouTube card so you can see it, or just, you know, go to my Mavic Air 2 video playlist on youtube.com/IRIXGuy and you can watch it there. But this thing's a dream, man. DJI is really knocking it out of the park. So tell me what you think within the comment section below. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. It's youtube.com/IRIXGuy, and ring that bell icon when you do, and that'll notify you whenever I post another video. Also, if you're shopping for Mavic Air 2 or other drones and or accessories, cameras, anything, expand this video's description and then click the link there. Help to support my channel. I'm an independent YouTube channel, so it's your support that helps me a ton. I appreciate your viewership. Fly safely, have fun, and again, always preach safe and responsible drone use. Y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, Captain IRIXGuy here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/IRIXGuy. And ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.